Hello beautiful people, I am jumping on this quick live with regards to all the videos I've been sharing recently, which can be a little bit annoying for some people on my feed. So I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about why I am sharing so much information with regards to what is going on up in the sky. Now, I don't just put these videos up every single day for years to sort of like trigger people or to put fear into people or to put a down on anyone's day. But of course, you know, I'm a strong believer that the more that we can stand in truth and courage and actually spread these sort of, you know, messages out to the masses, the more we can actually come together and create a change. Because I'm not able to make a change as an individual on my own. But what I can do as an individual is, you know, stand in courage, beyond the fear of judgment, beyond the fear of rejection, of even people getting sometimes quite angry at me, and standing in that courage just simply to share, you know, a little bit of knowledge about what is going on in our environments. Slowly we start to spread that message out. Now, the reason that I talk about this, guys, is because obviously I do work in healing. I help people to heal themselves, and I share with them tools that I used over the last 20 years to, you know, really get to the root cause of anything that was going on inside my emotional body, and, you know, to really heal the self from a deep internal level so that we can really optimize our health and wellness. But not only that, you know, really stay in a place of compassion and empathy whilst elevating our intelligence. Now, the reason that I talk about everything that's going on in the sky is because it is massively affecting human health. Now, obviously, I work with thousands of people. In the last 5 years, I've worked with maybe 10,000 people. And on a one-to-one basis, I've also worked with many people. So you've got to remember that, you know, every single day I'm getting messages from hundreds of clients. You know, most of you that know me know that I can't get back to all of the messages because I have such a high influx of messages coming through on all platforms. And there's one thing that I start to notice is that people will start to tell me that they're feeling a little bit sick on the same sort of day, you know. So I've got all these different people from different areas of the globe, and it's not just UK based. It will actually, I've spoken to a friend that's in Bali today that's feeling really unwell, similar symptoms to what's going on over here, and also as well in America. And when we start to look at, you know, the sort of the affairs that are happening in many countries, we start to see these sort of, you know, common cut out for a bit there. So it's not me like coming on and being a conspiracy head and wanting to spread negative sort of information out there, guys, but it's rather about raising awareness and sort of coming together to implement changes. And, you know, it's not about fearing the narrative. If we fear something and we deny it, we're actually giving it power to continue. But actually to gain awareness of something is actually liberation, because then we can reclaim our power to say, look, this isn't right for me, this isn't right for my family, this isn't right for the children, and it's also not right for the environment, because it affects everything, guys. So being someone, again, that works with breath, I can see that most people are unable to breathe properly. And, you know, the one thing that we all need is the breath. Surprise. You know, without the breath, we wouldn't be here today. It's the first thing we do when we come into this life, and it's the last thing we do when we leave. And the breath is the fuel that energizes this vehicle, this body. And many of you that have done training with me know that I will talk about, you know, this science on a physiological level as well as a spiritual level, because, you know, the science is proven now to show that the breath is healing the body on a cellular level. But the reason that I keep sharing these messages over the years in the videos of the sky is so that you can start to see. And I know a lot of people get triggered and then they just don't want to look at it and they shut down and they push it out. But the more that we can actually just stay open-minded and start to simply observe what is going on, you know, because for me, guys, honestly, I don't spend all my time looking at conspiracies and researching all of these conspiracies. I don't have time. There's so much opposing information on the internet anyway. You can read one conspiracy and it's going to be completely counteracted with another one, okay? So the best thing you can really go by is by observation and by having open-minded conversations and discussions, and also looking at the affairs that are happening in different countries at the same time. How are we getting the same fog all over the world at the exact same time when we're in completely different climates? Like, it doesn't really make sense. So this is where we start to just need to use a little bit of common sense and intuition as well. And I don't say that in a patronizing way, but we've been so conditioned and so sort of, you know, control to just go along with the narrative and not question anything. But in the last 4 or 5 years, many people are awakening to the fact that we might have been a little bit misled, and a lot of information has been hidden from us or manipulated to keep us in a state of coercive control, which on some levels makes sense because there's so many of us, okay? But the more that we can start to actually gain awareness of how much sickness is increasing, how many people are turning to anxiety, antidepressant tablets, how many people are really sick right now, because health is true wealth, guys. And the more that we just keep ignoring this, it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and all of these conditions are increasing. And you know, people like myself that talk out, there's many people that are trying to talk out, but to, you know, just sort of shut that down without paying any attention to what is going on around is a little bit ignorant. And in Buddhist philosophy, they say that ignorance is the cause of all suffering. You know, I know in the West we like to say ignorance is bliss. Well, it's bliss until it hits you in the face and there's nowhere to run or hide anymore, and now we're all experiencing all of these health conditions, you know. So the food is being affected by whatever's going on in the sky because it's being sprayed down on the crops. And again, I know I sound like a conspiracy head to so many people, but loads of people that actually got so angry with me 5-6 years ago that were raging at me for sharing this information. Shayna, the job that you do, you know, you're all about health and wellness, and you know, you're supposed to be positive, you shouldn't be speaking about this stuff. And I'm like, well, that's again ignorance, because for me, being someone that's spiritual, if you like, it's to have full awareness of both polarities, so negative and positive, and to deny one aspect, again, it leads us down a path of self-destruction. So it is not in my favor to hide these things, guys, and I know that it can go against me sometimes, but you know, I've got nothing to gain by sharing this information. And going back to what I said a minute ago, when we start to observe, we don't really need to look into all of these conspiracies and all of these different documents and everything that backs it up, because people will come to me and say, well, prove it to me then. And I'm like, well, if you really want to research it, you can look on the internet about geoengineering, weather modification. It's super like mainstream information now. So anyone that still questions it is a bit like, just do a little bit of research. But you don't even need to research, guys, just simply observing and looking at the differences every single day. I've actually been watching this since I was at school, and in the last 5 years, since, you know, multiple things have been implemented in our towns, which I'm not going to mention on here because I'll get shadow banned, so I've got to be careful with what I say. But in the last 5 years, it's increased ridiculously. So just start to observe every single day you work out. Oh, it's blue, it's sunny today. What's going on? Oh, there's no lines in the skies. There's no planes. Okay, that's a bit of a coincidence. And then the mornings you come out, it is blue sky. You start to see the planes come out. There's white lines everywhere. And within a few hours, there's thick white grey clouds for days and days. And we've had this all year this year, guys. Do you not remember the days where it's been freezing in the middle of the summer, and the minute that the clouds peel back, you can feel that beaming heat come through the clouds? That's not natural weather. I mean, again, using your intuition, using your instincts, using your, you know, intrinsic human nature, you can start to really see that this is not natural. You can feel it. So just really, I ask everyone that is sort of, you know, battling in the mind right now, what is going on? Remember, don't drop into the fear, okay? We can't have fear of this stuff. We can't hide away from it. We've got to keep elevating ourselves in truth, in power, but also spreading that message out to people so that we can really make changes for the earth for the next generations, guys. Because the way we're going, mental health, physical health is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And in 10, 15 years time, this isn't me being negative, you know, this is me just looking at the now moment. If we don't make changes, what is going to happen? Because it's very obvious, you know, it's very obvious what is happening. The food is getting worse. We've got no nutrients. You know, I work with so many people that are telling me they're losing their hair. Everyone thinks it's coincidence. I even started losing my hair at one point last year as well. It was all falling out. And I'm noticing across board that I'll have maybe 50, 60 people message me at the exact same time with similar symptoms that are occurring. And everyone just thinks, you know, stress is a massive element of that. Of course, we are extremely stressed out. This is why I teach breath work on a very sort of logical level, you know, to really work with the immune system, to really help us to alleviate stress, inflammation, cortisol, all of these things that deplete us and create dis-ease in the body, because we're so far away from what we actually are. We're at dis-ease with the natural way of our being, which is why we are so sick, guys. And we are living in a point where medical science is the best it's ever been, but we're seeing more sickness than we've ever seen before. Like, there's no coincidence there. Again, when you start to just observe without going into all of the studies that are sort of put out there on the internet, because again, you can find thousands of opposing ones, but just start to observe and use your intuition, because your intuition is so powerful and so strong. and what is going on right now with this sort of, you know, ascension process that we're going through, but also this sort of, I don't know, massive purge and upgrade into AI as well. We've got to be so vigilant with our minds, our bodies, and our spirits in this moment, guys. And the more that we can stand up in truth, the more that we can stand together and create this message, the more that we start to create a change. Because when the masses come together, we are the ones that have, you know, sort of, we have more influence when we come together. So this is why when we unite into our power through the place of love, through the place of courage, courage is a place of standing in your truth regardless of the judgment you're going to get of the people around you. You know, oh my gosh, what is she talking about? This girl's nuts, blah, blah, blah. That is courage, to really stand in that truth regardless of what anyone thinks. When you have an inner knowing about something, it doesn't matter what anyone challenges you with. You know, they can say anything and you sort of like, okay, that's fine. But when you have an inner knowing, it's like we really need to act upon that. So as well, off the back of that, guys, I have just created an online community as well for people that do want to start to talk about some of these, you know, things that we are experiencing in the upgrade of technology, in the stuff that's going on in the sky, you know, all of these things that are going on. Of course, we want to implement change. Now, I know there's a small community of people that are really working towards pushing that message out there. So I have created a platform which is private for anyone that does want to get involved to start to implement changes. And of course, there's going to be many different techniques that I'm going to share with you guys about really healing the inner world, because essentially, to change the outer world, we first need to work with our inner world, right? If we are in fear of the outer world wins, okay? All of these things happening, okay, it's happening, observe it. Don't allow it to control you and to win over you, okay? Because essentially, the minute you allow the vibration of your body to drop into that fear, that is when it really starts to affect you. So much of this practice is also about as well elevating ourselves inside, learning to speak to ourselves kindly, coming back to kindness, forgiveness, love, courage. When we come into kindness, forgiveness, compassion, love, all of these things build into courage from the space of the heart. And I don't know why, but I just think everyone knows lion heart, right? Is it lion heart? Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't get that wrong. But you know, to have the courage of the heart to really stand up in the face of fear regardless, this is when we truly stand in our power, guys. And you know, I use that line a lot, but we've got to do it for the next generations, and we've also got to do it for our own health as well, and for the environment and for the earth. You know, like, it's time to stand up and make a change, because the old ways, they're so outdated, and the environment as a result of that is starting to get depleted, you know. So we've got to put back as much as we take, looking after our inner world, but also again becoming more observant of our surroundings and what is happening and how this is affecting our health. And by standing up in power and actually, you know, creating a stand, we can actually start to change these things. Because just sitting there and like talking about it all the time and not really doing anything, you know, which sometimes it feels like I'm doing that, like I'm trying to make a change, but as a single individual is super hard. So all I can do is really work in myself, and then, you know, help people to find their power and their courage, so that we can create sort of like an army of light warriors that are willing to do the same as well. So we've all got our own role, and it's about really finding that role and that purpose and really living it, guys, because it's our birthright, you know. It is our birthright to find our purpose and to live that passion until the day that we leave this planet. There's so many people I know, you know, in this generation that never really found their purpose. They never really knew what they had to do. And that's no fault of their own. This is the programming of society, of the matrix, if you like. If we don't break outside the matrix, we never find our purpose, and we never have that really deep connection to this purpose, this soul mission that is inside so many of us. And I've met people that are on, like, I've met billionaires that are unhappy inside because they don't have that connection to their purpose. You know, we can have all the material goods in the world, we can have all the money in the world, but if we're not really feeling this sort of like richness in the seat of the soul, then are we ever really going to feel fulfilled in life? And we're not really. And it's the same thing as well. You can be super rich and have terrible health. What good is that money? You know, we've been so conditioned now to value money over health, to value money over love, to value work over family. And even I've been caught up in that rut sometimes of, you know, oh my gosh, I'm too busy working, I don't have time for my friends and my family. And this is about, again, really starting to unravel that and coming back to our truth, coming back to our power. I know I've gone off on so many tangents there, guys, but please let me know what it is you think we can do to actually create some changes in this world, because I don't want to just keep putting, you know, little videos out on YouTube and Facebook, on Facebook all the time about this stuff. And For anyone that's on my Facebook platform, apologies, because it can seem like a little bit of a negative ranting ground for me. You go to my Instagram and I don't post any of this stuff, you know, it's sort of, again, polarity. But again, we've got to highlight both aspects, you know. I can't just like teach everyone everything's love and light and, oh, let's stand in our power, and then ignore all of the atrocities that are going on this earth. You know, part of the work is helping people to find their power and to realize that it's not all rainbows and butterflies all the time. Because if it wasn't, we'd be like little fairies, you know, like we'd be like too soft and like too vulnerable. So we need these experiences to strengthen us, to become stronger, to allow the warrior to rise up. If you are that sort of archetype anyway, because that's definitely my archetype, you know, the warrior on a mission to change humanity, to change yourself. And also as well, yeah, just to really spread this message out to the masses so that we can elevate ourselves, elevate our vibration, and really rise up through this ascension process, because the world is changing quickly and it's going to be a good one. This is why so many people are coming towards these exercises and coming towards these communities now, so that we can create that unity between us, you know, because like I say, guys, when we come together as a collective, it only takes 3% of one species to change the entire collective consciousness, because we are one, and every thought that you put out into the thought field creates a vibration. So when so many of us come together and we meditate at the same time and we stay in that place of love and we send that love out to the world, we actually create a shift that ripples around the entire globe and elevates all of humanity. So we are awakening very quickly, you know. So many people that were never on a spiritual path or never really questioned life or never really thought there was anything beyond death. In the last few years, we've been a little bit shaken up. So people are starting to go, oh, actually, maybe there is more to life. Maybe I wasn't just born to work and die. Wow. Maybe I do have more abilities than the schooling system showed me, you know? Like, we are so much more. And remember, we only operate in 5% of the conscious mind. There's 95% of our reality that is being projected in front of us from the subconscious mind that we don't even have conscious access to. And I know that was really confusing, guys, but this is all literally like a game of breaking out of the matrix, breaking out of the mind prism, observing your surroundings and reclaiming ownership of your health and your wellness. And the way to do that first is to really look after this physical body, okay? We are having a human experience, so to purify the physical body and eat good healthy food and breathe in fresh air, drink good water, and stop eating all of these processed sugars and everything that just feeds parasites in the body. This is when we really, again, start to elevate our wellness. So many tangents. I'm gonna shut up now and jump off, guys, but yeah, please let me know down in the comments what we can do, and if you want to jump onto this community as well, guys, if you are interested in joining. Of course, you know, I don't really like to speak so much about all of these topics for obvious reasons, but I feel with due diligence it is my duty to really share this message out to people, especially with the responsibility I feel I've got to, not the responsibility I feel I've got, but you know, like the soul mission. I really feel from a young age I was sort of brought here exactly for this time, to help the children. And I'm not a mother yet. When I am a mother, oh my gosh, craziness. But it's really about the children, guys, and it is about helping them and helping the future so that they can rise up into a place of health and wellness without having to deal with all these horrible issues that so many adults are experiencing in this generation now. And we can do it. We can be that change. So I am so in faith about the changes that are coming, and, you know, being part of that wave to help humanity rise up. So hope you all have a beautiful day, guys. And yes, I will jump on at some point soon. Peace.